Okay, then, welcome everybody to the stream. At the beginning of the stream, I'd like to go ahead and give a little bit of an introduction. So, without further ado, this is a Catholic gaming stream. That means there be paired discussions about theology, saints, or various Catholic readings, and going on to the church. Which actually, we do have a little bit to talk about tonight. From what I've been reading, I need to actually make sure I read more of the Pillar, but I'm not very good about that sometimes. So I did see something before getting started, but we'll talk about that here in a little bit. There will also be discussions about the games played fit theologically wise or with church teachings will we play them. This is a stream for everyone, but yes, respectful everyone here. If you have a question about the church, please feel free to ask. I'm a layperson ever, so I mean to find the express from my priest. Doing research at Clan Catholic Games is live, as may take time. If you have a prayer request, please feel free to post it. For other streaming channels run by Catholics, and you are in luck. There's Interceptors My Dog Productions. Hey. Where's the first one? There we go, that's better. For some reason, skip over Interceptor that first time, not sure why. Interceptors My Dog Productions, The Punching, Fortitude, Bearded Blevins, Matt 317, Mr. Bushido, Argly and Papa, Father Sammy Beardley, Catholic Games Live, This Catholic, Yogurt Archangel, A Joyful Mind, as well as P. Tony, Savage Knight 99, Blue Soda, True Grit Catholic, K-Martinator, Yugen, and Catholic Brit. Thank you very much. God bless. Remember that God loves each and every one of you. Go and sin no more. Now, before we do go ahead and get into finishing dust, let's go ahead and have the readings for today, and we'll get started. So these are the readings for December 17th, 2022. Looks like my mug is a little bit too big for this one. But I know that if I flip this one upside down, it actually is a little bit better at holding. So these are the readings for December 17th, 2022, Saturday, the third week of Advent. The first reading for today is from Genesis chapter 49, verse 2, as well as 8 through 10. Jacob called his sons and said to them, Assemble and listen, sons of Jacob, listen to Israel, your father. You, Judah, shall your brothers praise, your hand on the neck of your enemies. The sons of your father shall bow down to you. Judah, like a lion's will. You have grown up on prey, my son. He crouches like a lion recumbent. The king of beasts, who would dare rouse him? The scepter shall never depart from Judah, or the mace from between his legs, while a tribute is brought to him, and he receives the people's homage. The psalm for today is Psalm 72. Justice shall flourish in his time, and fullness of peace forever. O God, with your judgment endow the king, and with your justice the king's son. He shall govern your people with justice, and your afflicted ones with judgment. Justice shall flourish in his time, and fullness of peace forever. The mountains shall yield peace for the people, and the hills justice. He shall defend the afflicted among the people, save the children of the poor. Justice shall flourish in his time, and fullness of peace forever. Justice shall flower in his days, in profound peace, till the moon be no more. May he rule from sea to sea, and from the river to the ends of the earth. Justice shall flourish in his time, and fullness of peace forever. May his name be blessed forever. As long as the sun, his name shall remain. In him shall all the tribes of the earth be blessed. All the nations shall proclaim his happiness. Justice shall flourish in his time, and fullness of peace forever. Alleluia, alleluia. O wisdom of our God Most High, guiding creation with power and love, come to teach us the path of knowledge. Alleluia, alleluia. The Gospel for today is from Matthew chapter 1, verse 1 through 17. The book of the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham became the father of Isaac, Isaac the father of Jacob, Jacob the father of Judah and his brothers. Judah became the father of Perez and Zerah, whose mother was Tamar. Perez became the father of Hezron, Hezron the father of Ram, Ram the father of Amminadab. Amminadab became the father of Nahshon, Nahshon the father of Salmon, Salmon the father of Boaz, whose mother was Rahab. Boaz became the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth. Obed became the father of Jesse, Jesse the father of David the king. David became the father of Solomon, whose mother had been the wife of Uriah. Solomon became the father of Rehoboam, Rehoboam the father of Abijah, Abijah the father of Asaph. Asaph became the father of Jehoshaphat, Jehoshaphat the father of Joram, Joram the father of Uzziah, Uzziah became the father of Jotham, Jotham the father of Ahaz, Ahaz the father of Hezekiah, Hezekiah became the father of Manasseh, Manasseh the father of Amos, Amos the father of Josiah, Josiah became the father of Jeconiah and his brothers at the time of the Babylonian exile. After the Babylonian exile, Jeconiah became the father of Shealtiel, Shealtiel the father of Zerubbabel, Zerubbabel the father of Abiud, Abiud became the father of Eliakim, Eliakim the father of Azor, Azor the father of Zadok, Zadok became the father of Achim, Achim the father of Eliud, Eliud the father of Eleazar, Eleazar became the father of Mathan, Matan, the father of Jacob. Jacob, the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary. Of her was born Jesus, who is called the Christ. Thus the total number of generations from Abraham to David is 14 generations. From David to the Babylonian exile, 14 generations. From the Babylonian exile to the Christ, 14 generations. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise be to you, Lord Jesus Christ, in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. All right, with that, let's go ahead and get started with a little bit of cleanup, and then we'll basically be on the finale. There's a few more things we'll have to do after, because we got one more thing. Two more things really to do. Oh, Mogos. How you doing, Star Warp? The cider. Yeah, we need to go all the way down to, I think that first yellow spot, so not too far. Entirely fair, Star. Thank you for being here. It's like, there we go. Thank you for the lurk as well. I do wish that we could run a little faster, pardon me. I like the little slight swaying of the... Well, I can't remember what that's called. My brain is really blinking really bad at the moment. Swing set. Swings. I haven't been on swings in a while. I'll have to take my son here soon. I like swings. It is! It's all hand-drawn too, all by one person, so... I am definitely planning to review this here before too long. Ow, really? Honestly, Dust is just an amazing game overall. I definitely hope we get the sequel to this here before too long. Just because it does do a little bit of, I don't know if it does too much of sequel baiting, but it does do it a little bit where it's like, yeah, I'd like the sequel, please. But yeah, Dean definitely did a really good job with this game, and I will never deny that. Okay, this is what I need at the moment. Just because I needed a fast way out. Ain't no easy way out, except there is. So I'm gonna take it now. I'm gonna get to where I need. I don't know where I'm going with this. I wouldn't have attacked me. I can't stop you, though. And we almost got a level up as well. No, that leads to a little trap. Please give me 1 second. I was scratching myself. Cool. Okay, time for a level up. Let's see. Yeah, we'll do attack, and then we gotta work more on another defense and HP, which is fine. Okay, who's ready for a Castlevania 2 reference?
Well, that made absolutely no sense.
Every moment has a purpose, Fidget. You just have to dig deeper.
Oh yeah, because this is Braid. That's right, yeah. Hold on. We got 100% of the map, now we just need to go ahead and get... Wasn't, like, the Braid Anniversary? Hold on, actually, that... I know Braid Anniversary is supposed to come out soon. What happened with that? Give me 1 second, I'm actually really curious about that. I guess we haven't heard anything new about it recently. Let's see. I just want tweets from this person. How do I get to just tweets? Doesn't look like they tweeted really since March 9th, 2021, so... Fair enough. Hopefully they do bring... Not that we don't already have a good game as is with the original Braid, but I am kind of curious what they would add with Braid Anniversary Edition, honestly. Especially since, you know, I am in the Braid level. Makes me think about Braid. Hi, Tim. Hopefully we get to see you again soon. It has been a bit of time since we last saw you, bud. Okay, so now we got 100% here as well. Okay, so there should be a save point directly above us, which means we can teleport. Oh gosh, hello. after I get back, I'm going to need to use the restroom real quickly because I thought I wouldn't need to on stream, and my body's like, nah. Funny story. You have to. So like, okay. I did do my exercises today, so it does make some sense. I did my I only did a half-hour biking because I really do not like indoor biking, honestly. Like, I'll do it, and also indoor biking is a bit different than outdoor biking, so I have, obviously with indoor biking, you're pedaling all the time, whereas outdoor biking, you don't have to be. Yeah, everywhere but one location, which we currently cannot do. We need to go here and get the last stone. Is at 100%. Chapter 5. Legend. I am legend. I'm sorry. That was a really dumb reference. I don't even like I Am... Well, I don't know. It's been so long since I've seen I Am Legend, I can't know if I really like it or not. It's been a substantial amount of time, though. That's a lava. Lava hurt.
Halt! Who goes? Oh, it's you. Apologies, Miss Robin. Please, enter.
We welcome your presence, Sen Mithrarin. Preparations for war are nearly complete.
Surely you have more soldiers than this.
General Gaius is nothing if not thorough. His forces have exterminated most Moonbloods from this land. We are all that's left.
How do you expect to win with so few soldiers?
We cannot. That's why we created Sen Mithrarin. You dust will turn the tide.
Well, no pressure or anything.
Basically.
Yeah. Does General Gaius know of this place?
I fear he does now.
What? How?
One of our own has been keeping an eye on you since your travels began. A merchant, Sereth.
Aha! I knew that creepy merchant was one of you guys.
How did a Moonblood operate so freely in the wildlands?
He is a smart businessman. Deals in all the right places. Gaius's soldiers turn their gaze from him in exchange for free goods. However, no amount of bribery could cover up that Sereth was helping you to find us.
And that's how Gaius found out. How much time do you think we have to prepare?
Not long, I'm afraid. The whole purpose of Gaius's campaign is to wipe us from the face of this world. Once he knows of our final stronghold, he will send everything he has and destroy us.
I see all sorts of lamps here, but no fire. Is this the way of the flameless light?
It is, yes. In ancient times, the Moonbloods went by another name. We lived in a great society called the Sintuck, and we wielded the knowledge to follow the way of the flameless light.
Settle in, Dust. This could take a while.
We Sintuck harnessed a power unlike any this world had ever seen. We built elaborate contraptions like these lamps, capable of piercing the darkness without so much as a spark.
Well, obviously something went wrong because we still have to build a fire every time Dust pulls out his map.
Unfortunately, the ancient tomes do not say how the Sintuck fell, and that knowledge has been lost. Perhaps intentionally. All we know is that our kind were made as outcasts, and that has remained true for countless generations. For the longest time, we believed the Moonbloods were the only ones left who know of the way of the flameless light. But we were wrong. When General Gaius began his purge, there were stories of their weapons, stories of elaborate contraptions that seemed to defy the natural world. Weapons that sound identical to those of the Sintuck in the most ancient of tales.
What kinds of weapons are we talking about?
Arrows made of light. Machines that take to the sky like birds.
And we're supposed to fight these things with your lamps.
I did not say it would be easy.
He didn't.
Nobody ever does.
Also true.
I did once. Remember?
Yeah, and you were wrong.
Well, I'm here now. Is there anything I can do to help?
We are spread rather thin. Our chief engineer, Sanjin, is having trouble with our camp's support systems. Go and speak with him when you can, and I'm sure he will explain further. There is also the matter of our scout, Kier. He has not checked in.
Hey Tom, how are you?
But with our battle preparations, we have not been able to mobilize a proper search party. His patrol takes him east of our
Pardon me.
camp if you aim to find him.
Okay. Hey, Ginger.
Ginger?
Jin? Oh, Dust. It's you.
Yeah, just me. Are you alright?
I'll be fine. Just a lot to think about.
Yep, it is. That's fair. Hopefully it's been a good weekend. Mine's been a bit busy as well, but I've been enjoying it.
Yes?
What was he like?
He was very kind. Almost to a fault, really.
I like him already.
Yes, he had that effect on people. I like to believe it's what made you do all those wonderful things for Aurora and Mudpot.
Like the Elder said, I may share your brother's soul, but the choices I make are mine alone.
I'm sorry, Dust. I didn't mean to suggest.
No, I'm sorry. I can't imagine the grief you went through in Zeplik, thinking I might have been your brother.
You do have his eyes. His face. It's so strange. You could really be him.
Nice!
I suppose I could be. I may not have his memories, but if his soul is guiding me to act as he would, maybe there isn't a difference.
Yes, Dust. Your actions make you who you are.
Then perhaps your brother lives on through mine.
I'd like to think so, Dust. It gives me hope that he didn't die in vain.
Well, he did take out the enemy's biggest warrior, so I would say he didn't die in vain, but still.
We all choose our own paths. Jin chose his. And looking at you now, looking at the things you've done, I think he made the right choice.
I think he did too, Ginger.
I'm glad we had this talk, Dust. It makes me feel a lot better, knowing that my brother is helping to save this world. Come back soon?
Of course. Goodbye for now. Ginger?
Hello again, Dust.
Are you alright?
I'll be fine. Just a lot to think about.
Fair.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
We already talked, otherwise. Okay, so there's treasure here.
Ah, you've arrived just in time, Mithrarin. My name is Sanjin. I'm what you'd call a chief engineer, I suppose the term is.
The Elder mentioned you needed some help?
Yes, indeed. In the caverns below, we've set up machinery to provide the camp with power and water. Unfortunately, seismic activity has shut down both systems, so we need to get them running once more. I have been rather preoccupied handling the battle preparations, so if you could, I would appreciate it if you went down there to examine the generators.
Sure, Sanjin. I'll take a look.
Thank you. You'll need to restart the generator and water pump when you're down there. We'll require both systems to be running if we're going to stand a chance against General Gaius.
Yeah, today's been a good day so far. What have I done today? I exercised, I went grocery shopping with my wife and son. I guess we technically did do a little bit of Christmas shopping. Not too much, though, admittedly. Just kind of been a nice, relaxing day for the most part, I would say, which is good. I was reading that the priest formerly called, what was his name? Has been defrocked at the moment because apparently his comments were too controversial, which, from what I was seeing, I can't necessarily agree with that. Pavone, it looks like, and I can't really say Father Frank Pavone because he's no longer father, but I do say the people that are taking joy of the fact that he's no longer a priest is not a good thing either, and it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this turns out, honestly, because it's like, I will say that he was probably a little too... Because I have followed him on Twitter for a while, because I do like the pro-life cause that he fights for, as we should all fight for, but at the same time, he does seem to be a little bit on the Vatican II bad, current Vatican awful type of situation. I haven't seen that too much, but I've seen that here and there. Ah, missed it. Alright. Supposedly that's gotten a lot worse with him as of lately. And it'll be interesting to see, because I've seen a couple of people say Bishop Strickland says that as well, but I personally have never noticed that for Bishop Strickland, honestly.
Well, there's the generator. Let's see if we can find a way to get it working again.
I sense no energy emanating from the device dust. Perhaps there is a way to return its spark?
Yeah.
Well done, Fidget. The camp should now be receiving power.
See, I missed that part, Tom, and if... Hold on.
Without you.
Probably still be wandering around in the mountains outside Aurora.
Wait, what?
What I meant to say was, don't worry about it.
Yeah, and like that obviously would be bad, and not a good thing to do, because if that's the case, then that's not something that you should do, to put it lightly, because I'm trying to think of the best ways to put it. I think that would be an abuse of the altar for one, but I'm not entirely positive about that. Because obviously a baby isn't something that's bad, but abortion is, so it's kind of hard. I'm not actually sure what... I'm not sure if that would deconsecrate the altar, honestly. I'd have to look into that more. That's something I do happen to be curious about. Yeah, I'm waiting for the pillar to report more on it. JD was saying that they will have information about it here later. They just do not at the moment because it was JD's son's birthday, so he's kind of been taking a bit of a day off, which good for him, honestly. It will be interesting to see as the story develops at the moment. Because if that's true, that's obviously bad, but obviously I don't think people should be taking joy in the fact that a priest has been defrocked. I think that if the story is true, Father Frank Pavone should repent. Because obviously, if all this part of the story is true... Nope. Messed that up. It's bad because of multiple reasons. Sorry, I'm trying to pay attention at the moment. Because if formerly Father Frank Pavone was not listening to the Vatican, that's bad. Supposedly, he was informed of it by the... that one post today, the New York Post, but that may not be true, because listen, if you're trying to make somebody side with you, the best way to get people instantly upset is like, I wasn't even told about this. It's like, weren't you though? Weren't you? Not to say that that's the case, I'm just waiting for more evidence, honestly. Since this story is still developing, it's like, I just want some more evidence, some more information. It's like... I wouldn't either, True Regret, but it's been confirmed. That's the thing. And I don't blame you either. Yeah, but either way, the point being, I don't know. Not entirely the same, but it's kind of reminding me of the Bayonetta... How are you doing, by the way, True Regret? The Bayonetta 3 story when that came out. I know that sounds weird, but how the original actress for Bayonetta was saying that she wasn't being paid enough. Turns out that what she was saying was an offer for her to be paid because from a cameo, because she decided she $15,000 for a couple hour sessions wasn't enough, which is the rate at the time. Basically that kind of blew up, and she did try to do something good by trying to boycott Bayonetta 3, although she lied, which was bad. But basically the good part about her trying to have people boycott Bayonetta 3 is she was trying to have people donate money to a pro-life charity, which that in of itself is very good. But by her lying, that not only makes people not want to donate to the pro-life charity, makes the pro-life people look worse, it also happens to make it so that the talk about proper voice acting pay is basically just going to be talked about by this now, how people will lie about it, and that's not a good thing. I know that sounds weird to connect the two, but basically I'm just connecting the two because of the fact that people jump their horses, I guess. They'll immediately see something in the newspaper like, ah, see, he was bad all along. I'm gonna ride the bandwagon. It's like, no, stop. This is the internet. The internet is about sense. I can't talk into English. About it's about playing on people's emotions, not having them think the situation through and be like, yeah, we want to get a crowd going. What am I thinking? You guys get what I'm trying to say. I'm just not saying it very well. But basically, I want more information before I have any kind of judgment.
Huh, no wonder it stopped. These vines are growing all over it.
I don't want to risk damaging the pump trying to cut those vines. Maybe there's some way we can burn them off?
But yeah, basically, I want more information. It will be interesting to see how this story develops. I agree, Tom. That is the best plan.
Right, that seemed to fix it. Nice work, Fidget.
Ah, stop. You're making me blush.
Okay, that's the generator and the water pump back online.
Yeah, I haven't really been on Twitter that much lately, Triggered, so I'm not sure when he started doing all this type of stuff. Because I've basically just been staying off of Twitter lately for the most part. I'll check prayer requests, and that's about all I really do on Twitter. I post that I'm going live, I check prayer requests, and that's about it. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I can understand that. I definitely want everybody to be reconciled. Oh, hello. Okay. Clever. I definitely want everybody to be reconciled with the church, because at the end of the day, I do want the best for everybody. I don't want anybody to go to hell. I know that people will go to hell. That doesn't mean I have to like it. And I can do my best to prevent it. And because I do want the best for everybody. I want everybody to be reunited with God, because that's what God wants. At the end of the day, God wants us to be reunited with Him.
Excellent work, Mithrarin. Now that the power and water systems are working again, we can hold our ground against Gaius' soldiers. You have saved many lives this day.
That's fair. I don't blame you at all for that, honestly. You know there's a treasure chest around here. Or at least a treasure around here, I guess would be the better way to put it.
Did you hear something?
I've been rereading Lord of the Rings lately, Tom, so I've been enjoying that. I've been doing a couple 20 Answers booklets. I read a Father Ray Garendi book recently. Or Dr. Ray Garendi, pardon me. I've been doing a decent amount of good reading lately, I would say. Let's see, what else have I been reading lately? It's hard for me to remember sometimes. Okay, so there's still something here. I bet you I do know where it is. I'll have to find it in a second.
Mithrarin, do you...
That's fair, Trigger. I definitely don't blame you.
Surely you...
General Gaius...
Okay.
Do you expect...
We cannot.
Yeah... Does General Gaius know of this place?
I fear he does.
That's fair, Trigger. I can understand that. I definitely... And I have been reading the Bible. I still need to do my Bible reading today. I do that every day, but still.
Not long, I'm afraid.
Talked about this already. There's just a giant check mark over your head, so I don't know if I need to come back here.
Well,
Talk to you about something or not.
For the longest... When General...
What kind...
Arrows...
And
I did not...
nobody ever does.
I think you mentioned that, yeah. It's like, I've just gotten to, the Two Towers, so it's been a little bit of slow reading, but I have been reading it.
Mithrarin, do you need anything else?
Thank you, Welder, but...
Yes,
Okay, let's try this again. I bet you we need to go do the other quest to... And I bet you what I want is up here. Maybe not. Where would it be then? Not down there. Listen, there's not very many places it can be. Nice! I'm looking forward to that. Crab legs, do. Actually, it's frog legs, but whatever.
Oh no! Just look!
It's the missing sentry. What happened here?
Ah! Just look out!
Oh! Sneaky boy! I didn't realize there was one more of you. Not anymore, there isn't. Come on, lift me up into the air! Oh. Once I do this, this will probably make it so there's more enemies there is my guess. Crab leg sounds good.
I'm afraid I have bad news. We found Kier, but he was ambushed by Gaius' soldiers. He didn't stand a chance.
Then it has already begun. Dust, we are nearly out of time. Please, help Sanjin get our camp support systems working once again.
Already did that.
Without them, we will stand little chance of mounting an effective defense.
It sounds like Sanjin was able to get the pumps and generators working again.
No doubt thanks to your help. With power and water flowing through our camp once again, we will be better equipped to handle our
Now give me the last gem so I can go do a quick side quest, then come help you guys.
Thank you, Dust. I believe we are as prepared as we possibly could be. With the enemy at our gates, we have no choice but to begin our assault. Our warriors are gathering at the edge of the camp, waiting for you to lead them. Take this yellow resonance gem, Dust. Use it to open the gate.
Alright, but not quite yet.
Thank you, Elder.
We got one more other... There's one other yellow resonance gem we gotta open.
Know that I am honored to have stood before you. The Moonbloods will follow you unto death. Now go, and Dust. Good luck.
Thank you. Oh, I heard a cat. Okay, Archer's Pass. I do appreciate the fact that Dean put the only place you probably didn't have, well, you wouldn't have finished, right here. That way we can just easily pop in. Unless you're like me, who just runs past the orb. 'Cause I am a genius. In France. I'm a genius in France. Genius in France. Genius in France. Has anybody seen the Weird Al movie yet? Is it good? I haven't seen it yet. I'm curious about it, admittedly. But at the same time, it's also on the Roku channel. Who, as far as I know, Roku has never made a movie before, so it's like, huh. Alrighty then. Not my, not what I was expecting to make, not whom I was expecting to make a movie. Not that they'll do a bad job, it's just interesting. That's all. And I think this is the last friend. Oh, we have 2 more friends to find. Okay. This is the second to last HP boost then. And this is also... I'm sure you guys who are familiar with indie games can guess who this is. I don't think it's gonna drop us now. My bad. I'm button press. Good. We're missing some stuff still. What am I missing? I honestly thought this would have been longer, so... It's not here. That means we need to explore more. Which isn't a problem, just... Not sure where else it could be. Alright, guess it's time for us to look around. Maybe I do know where it could be. We'll check in a second. Not what I was going for, but that's fine. I think I came back here after I got the slide. It looks like it. Yeah, I did. Okay. Just figure I'd double check while we're here. Obviously, we're missing some of Archer's Pass, so... Not that either, which is fair. But, I mean, you know, we just kind of destroyed something similar, so I figured I'd take a look. It was in a book. Reading Rainbow. I can do... Did we ever actually go this way? Yes, we did, because that's... Yeah, that's where we came in from. Okay. Brain fart.
Ah, my favorite customer. What can I do for you?
So, let's talk.
Need anything else? Thanks, Dust. Don't be long coming back.
What's the word, Maddie? I'll make sure to spread the good news.
Ow. Oh, we got up here, so that's good. I can't find it after looking around. I have one other idea, but you know, it's more fun to explore at first before you give up. At least in my opinion, it is. Might be something up there. Good. Can't hurt to take a look. I'll have to respawn the enemies, but that's fine. Not the worst thing in the world. Every time. Thank you, game. I'll just look it up real quickly. Most of the time I don't mind, but it's like, listen, I just failed that twice. They could check that note. If I remember where to check notes. Probably here. Alright, headless statue. Fair enough. So look for a headless statue. Ow. There it is. Alright. I guess I just need to learn to read. Good to know. Do everything. And now we can leave. Alright. So on to the actual last area, which is nice, which is good. Fair enough. This is on fire a lot these days, which is my fault. Alright, this is my last one of these. So we probably don't really need any more, but it might not be a bad idea so as to grab one more, but I know we'll find... Okay, good. I thought it said 90% for a second, I was like, why? And can't quite finish that quite yet, so... Can't save though. From 104% to 109%. Bye, Ginger. Okay. There we go, good. So I know there's treasure around, but where? Okay. A little close, but we got it. Just fine. Hopefully no more of those invisible guys. Oh, they're still here. Alright. Not the worst enemies in the world, just a little hard to see sometimes, that's all. Because, you know, they're invisible. So hopefully, the rest of the enemies aren't like this. I cannot remember if they are or not. I just want your dog tag. I know that's a crafting item. Okay, nothing here. Is there any items here? No. Hello there.
It seems my secret is out, yes?
It honestly wasn't that much of a secret.
It wasn't.
So, you were keeping watch on us this whole time?
In a manner of speaking, just making sure you were well supplied for the journey.
Well, we appreciate the help.
I am glad, my friend. Anything you need, you just let me know.
Do I have that last... I do have the last one. I didn't realize I got a dog tag. Nice. Alright, cool. All catalogs, which means now we just need to wait for, got 5 of those, we're good there. We'll just get 1 just for in case. And like all this stuff, we'll be able to craft here before too long. We'll have to wait till it says shops are restocked and then buy some more.
There! The warriors are gathering.
Ah, Mithrarin. Superb timing. As you can see, our path out of the camp is blocked. Some manner of rock slide. Very unpredictable.
Yes, that happens sometimes when you build your village in a volcanic wasteland.
It's true.
Anyway, we will need to clear this obstruction before we can exit the camp.
I'll see what I can do.
Does no. Oh, there's one of you left. It does no want, and I didn't. But I missed one of you, so that's on me. Okay, another key, good. We will need a few more of those at the very least. Worth a shot. Ah, another one of those. Okay, fair enough. As I say, please do not disappear on me. Oh gosh, let me out of lava, please. Please, no. We're good. We're fine. Everything's fine. How are you? Ooh, Bloms. Haven't seen those in 5 minutes. Let's see what's to the left real quickly. Nothing! Hooray! That's my fault. It's not a problem. It really isn't, honestly. I'm just being silly. As I tend to do. Ow. Jobs restocked, which is good. We can go buy oh, actually we can buy dog tags from right here. I kind of forget that we can do that sometimes. Hey, level up, nice. Alright. Honestly, as much as I do want more defense... Yeah, we'll do defense. As I say, I think more HP would be better, to be quite honest. And I think that's still the case, but... That's alright. Oh, before we do that, I know we can make the best item eventually. I don't know how many dog tags. Okay, so only 2 dog tags at a time. Okay. Alright. Fair enough. We'll hold off on that for a time being then. I'm gonna bet you that's the best ring we can make, but I'm gonna hold off for a little bit longer. We already have a warrior's pendant, so we don't need to go ahead and make another one of those. I'm gonna bet you the ring of patience is the second best ring. We'll hold off. Make sure we don't get anything better on the along the way. For that, we would just need 4 of these wolf belts. Would raise our luck and defense by a bit, but we will hold off for just a little bit to see if we find anything else. It just makes the most sense, honestly. Okay, doesn't seem like there's anything over there. Fair. It's fine. I forgot about this ability, actually. And here's the last friend. Is it another duck? I cannot remember. I think it's from the maw, if I remember correctly. Sounds right, I think. By the way, got all the friends. That's neat. I know the maw exists, but that's about as much as my knowledge of the maw goes, to be quite honest. I think I technically do own it, but I have not played it. Fine, I'll just shock you with lightning. I would have rather been hit with a sword, because I think that would have been more pleasant, but you do you. If you would like to die via lightning. Ah. My bad. Okay, fair enough. It changed. Which that does make sense. And that is why I did not want to spend too much money yet. In case I needed it for better stuff along the way. Which is looking like that will be the case, which is fine. I know that we have the best augment, but that doesn't mean everything else is the best. There's Mastering of Wealth, which at the moment... Let's see, we have Vigilance, which does increase item drop, which we don't need as much at the moment as we need more money, to be quite honest. Because, while money is, or while item drop is good, we already have the dog tags secured. So what we really need now is money so as to be able to buy more dog tags. Chicken.
Well done. Let us begin our assault. We're right behind you, Sanmith Rarin.
Okie dokie. I'll give 1 second. Yeah, I was gonna say that's not nearly as good as that one. This one's more expensive. That one we could craft right now, but no. That lowers the attack, raises degen, regen, I should say. I think I'd rather the Warrior's Pendant, honestly. Check the map. Okay. Not expecting any. Okay, I understand what hit me now. The big buffalo. Which makes sense. Don't like it, but it do make sense. Okay, need to equip new health item. Let's see, we have Lazaga. We have a fair amount of Lazaga. We want to keep the Champong for now. Hot dogs. Hot dogs. Who doesn't like hot dogs? Some people don't like hot dogs. Merely broths are better. Not gonna deny that. But hot dogs are enjoyable. Okay. So I think it's just a couple more screens of this, which shouldn't be too bad, honestly, as long as we don't accidentally get sideswiped by a buffalo again. That will really hurt if that happens. Hey, Austin, how are you? I don't think you guys should jump into lava, though. Doesn't seem like a good plan. Come on, guys, do a double jump. There you go, or a high jump, except for you. And you. Alright. Is the Pope Francis the Pope? Yes. Si, senor. I'm doing pretty well. A bit tired, but not too bad. Just had a little trouble falling asleep last night, but I'm doing better now, honestly. I did all my exercises for today. The only thing I really need to do for today still is read the Bible. So that's not bad. I've gone ahead and I have done the rosary for the day. I've prayed the Divine Mercy Chaplet. I did my night prayers already with Minimax. So, been a pretty good day. I played some Zelda 2 today, actually, off stream, because I've been wanting to play some Zelda 2. And I am going to play it on stream at some point, but he's 6. He fidgets during them, but, you know, a good routine helps him in the long run, as it helps me, too. Ooh, shop's restocked. That means I need to go buy some more dog tags. Hey. Okay. Buy some more dog tags. How much money do we have? Okay, fair enough. Yes, no, I'm not faulting him for it at all. Don't get me wrong. Just because when I say he can't sit still for it, I am not faulting him. It's like, yep. That is, in fact, a child. Pardon me. As I say, it's time for you to die. I parried you somehow. That's probably better armor than, yeah. More regen, more defense, more luck. We're gonna hold off still. Let's see. It does require dog tags as well, which is the downside to that one. That is a good point, actually. I do kind of forget about that. I was gonna say, I thought you meant the COVID lockdowns, which is like, yeah, that's true. But then I realized you just meant in the history of the church. Level up, nice. My brain went a completely different way for that, obviously, than was intended. Alright, more health, which is good. Wait, hold on. That wasn't one of ours! It's like, wait a second, brain, process a little faster. That wasn't one of yours. Attack them. Try to get their dog tags. You need those dog tags. Many dog tags, please. I mean, chain broken. I didn't see myself get attacked. No, you're not one of us. Get out of here. Stop trying to blend in. Yeah, I can understand that. I like sitting through all mass, but it does still need on occasion. Not that I'm obviously saying anything against it, of course, as well. Don't want to give anybody scruples. Unintentionally or intentionally. Yeah, I was gonna say, that enemy isn't particularly hard. Let's say we're gonna have to do this again, like, I'm almost positive. Yep, we're gonna have to do that again. That's fine. Not like that's too hard, honestly. It's a little unfortunate, but it's like, whatever. Okay, so there's the correct way. I don't want to go the correct way quite yet. Shops restocked. I will need to go buy some dog tags here in a second. There we go. And chicken. I'm going to need to grab some water here in a second, but wanted to at least wait one more second. Is there something I wanted to check? I don't remember, actually. No, come back here, money. Oh yeah, there was something I did want to check now that I think about it. Lazaga. Need more dog tags. Do not have more dog tags? Like, it just said shops restocked. Not that much, apparently. Okay, then. Unfortunate. Oh, there's the Buffalo Boy again. The Buffalo Boy is the scary boy. Not too scary, apparently. Taken down in 2 fell, maybe it was 3. Couple of fell swipes. But yeah, I've been playing Zelda 2 today. I don't know if I really like it. It's not a bad game, as bad a game as people make it out to be. I played it a little bit when I was younger, the Game Boy Advance version, which was more a port than a version, I would say, which is fine. And it's not bad, it's just a little wonky. I wish Link's sword was like an inch or 2 longer. That's like my complaint. No, there's no more treasure here, actually. I don't need to try to do shenanigans. Like, it just feels like Link's sword is a little too short sometimes for some of the enemies. Probably makes it more realistic, but listen, I don't play games for realism. Especially because it's like, listen, if I was playing games for realism, I'd be in a real bad spot, because most of them don't acknowledge God as God. So it's like, yeah, I don't play games for realism, guys. Now, really, some games have the possibility. Final Fantasy II might. Final Fantasy II does feel a bit more Christian than the rest of them. I don't know if it's intentional, but it does feel it at the very least. Final Fantasy XVI, on that note, by the way, is going to be an interesting game, it looks like. I don't know if it'll be a good game. It's just saying that from the ESRB, there is prostitutes and other things. It's like, Square. I don't want that. There had been some rumors of that for a while, but it's like, rumors are rumors, and I don't want to just comment on rumors. I want to see some actual evidence, and if the SRB are saying it, that's some more actual evidence than just rumors. Not concrete evidence, I would say, but it is more so. I'd say it's pretty concrete, actually, now that I think about it. Listen, Square, I don't play Final Fantasy to get The Witcher. I don't want The Witcher. I play it to play Final Fantasy. Stop it. Get some help.
Please, Dust is fine. Well, Dust, we got this teleporter up and running just a few moments ago. If you have any business elsewhere, now is the time to do it. Once the charge begins, there's no turning back.
I understand. Thank you, my friend.
But if I take this teleporter... Well, I've gotten mostly everything done. I'm gonna take the teleporter, so as to see if I can instantly teleport back here. I can. Good, okay. I did want to take a break to get some water, go to the restroom real quickly. Just take a quick 5-minute break. Go AFK so as to hopefully get some more...
Ginger?
Yes?
Are you alright?
I'll be fine.
I'm sorry.
Alright, we already talked to Ginger. Sorry, Ginger, not trying to be rude to you, but we have already talked to you. And still no dog tags. Okay, then. See, the thing is, we could make that, but I don't want to yet. So these are probably the 2 things I'd want in terms of that. But yeah, I will be right back. I'm going to use the restroom. So give me like 5 or so minutes, I'd say. It shouldn't be too long, I hope.
KAMax is playing that Sega game. He thinks it deserves all the fame, but I know someday you'll see the light. Super Mario World is the best of all time. KAMax, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiling, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with KAMax is at least better than doing my taxes. We like KAMax so much, we want to take him to Disney World. We like KAMax so much, we want to take him to Disney World. We like KAMax so much, we want to take him to Disney World and watch him spend all his dollar bills.
Bills?
Yeah, because you know, he loves giving his money to Disney.
Ah.
KAMax, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiling, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with KAMax is at least better than doing my taxes. KAMax, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiling, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with KAMax is at least better than doing my taxes. KAMax is playing that Sega game. He thinks it deserves all the fame, but I know someday you'll see the light. Super Mario World is the best of all time. KAMax, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiling, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with KAMax is at least better than doing my taxes. We like KAMax so much, we want to take him to Disney World. We like KAMax so much, we want to take him to Disney World. We like KAMax so much, we want to take him to Disney World and watch him spend all his dollar bills.
Bills?
Yeah, because you know, he loves giving his money to Disney.
Ah.
KAMax, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiling, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with KAMax is at least better than doing my taxes. KAMax, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiling, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with KAMax is at least better than doing my taxes. KAMax is playing that Sega game. He thinks it deserves all the fame, but I know someday you'll see the light. Super Mario World is the best of all time. KAMax, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiling, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with KAMax is at least better than doing my taxes. We like KAMax so much, we want to take him to Disney World. We like KAMax so much, we want to take him to Disney World. We like KAMax so much, we want to take him to Disney World and watch him spend all his dollar bills.
Bills?
Yeah, because you know, he loves giving his money to Disney.
Ah.
KAMax, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiling, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with KAMax is at least better than doing my taxes. KAMax, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiling, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with KAMax is at least better than doing my taxes. KAMax is playing that Sega game. He thinks it deserves all the fame, but I know someday you'll see the light. Super Mario World is the best of all time. KAMax, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiling, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with KAMax is at least better than doing my taxes. We like KAMax so much, we want to take him to Disney World. We like KAMax so much, we want to take him to Disney World. We like KAMax so much, we want to take him to Disney World and watch him spend all his Yeah, because you know, he loves giving his money to Disney.
Ah.
K-Max, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiley, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with K-Max is at least better than doing my taxes. K-Max, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiley, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with K-Max is at least better than doing my taxes. K-Max is playing that Sega game. He thinks it deserves all the fame, but I know someday you'll see the light. Super Mario World is the best of all time. K-Max, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiling, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with K-Max is at least better than doing my taxes. We like K-Max so much. We want to take him to Disney World. We like K-Max so much. We want to take him to Disney World. We like K-Max so much. We want to take him to Disney World and watch him spend all his dollar bills.
Bills?
Yeah, because you know, he loves giving his money to Disney.
Ah.
K-Max, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiley, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with K-Max is at least better than doing my taxes. K-Max, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiley, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with K-Max is at least better than doing my taxes. K-Max is playing that Sega game. He thinks it deserves all the fame, but I know someday you'll see the light. Super Mario World is the best of all time. K-Max, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiling, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with K-Max is at least better than doing my taxes. We like K-Max so much. We want to take him to Disney World. We like K-Max so much. We want to take him to Disney World. We like K-Max so much. We want to take him to Disney World and watch him spend all his dollar bills.
Bills?
Yeah, because you know, he loves giving his money to Disney.
Ah.
K-Max, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiley, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with K-Max is at least better than doing my taxes. K-Max, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiley, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with K-Max is at least better than doing my taxes. K-Max is playing that Sega game. He thinks it deserves all the fame, but I know someday you'll see the light. Super Mario World is the best of all time. K-Max, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiling, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with K-Max is at least better than doing my taxes. We like K-Max so much. We want to take him to Disney World. We like K-Max so much. We want to take him to Disney World. We like K-Max so much. We want to take him to Disney World and watch him spend all his dollar bills.
Bills?
Yeah, because you know, he loves giving his money to Disney.
Ah.
K-Max, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiley, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with K-Max is at least better than doing my taxes. K-Max, he's got a mustache, and when he's smiley, he looks like Dr. Wily. And I have to admit, though we don't talk about it, that hanging out with K-Max is at least better than doing my taxes. K-Max is playing that Sega game. He thinks it deserves all the
Blasphemy. Hearsay star. Maybe not blasphemy, but... Wait, hold on. Wait, what? Hold on. I need to check something real quickly. They do push you around. Only when they jump off from the cliff. Huh. That's interesting. Wonder why that is, because it's not like they push you around elsewhere. Do they push you around when they jump from other areas? Need to find out. Yeah. So when they jump, they push you around. Fascinating. I wonder why that is. A little harder here, but it's still possible to see. Go AFK for a couple minutes and get a lot more of these. Fair enough. Now there is one thing I do want to show off now that I think about it before we do continue on, so I better do that because they did say that the point of no return was coming here pretty quickly. Now there's another skill gem, that's good. Okay, so one thing, just because now that we've rescued everybody, we can go check out the party house. There's no real reason to, but there's no real reason not to, since we do have the teleporter right here. I cannot. It feels like it's been such a short year this year. It also feels like it's been a long year too. It's kind of one of those shortened years. We'll give it a second. I do like this song. I still think Bastion is Supergiant Games' best game. I do like Pier. I like Transistor. I like Hades enough, but there's parts of Hades that I don't really like too. Fez, as I said, I need to play more of. I've heard Phil Fish is an unpleasant person, but, you know, internet rumors, that doesn't always happen to be true. And even if a person's unpleasant doesn't mean their game is bad, so I do want to still try that out. That is not the Jetpack Joyride guide. It does kind of look like him. The one in the suit? No, that is Tim. I can understand why you think that. He's from Braid. I was talking about him earlier, and I'm hoping... Braid Anniversary was announced in 2020, and we haven't heard anything about it since then, so I'm hoping eventually we do hear about it. But as of the moment, we ain't heard nothing. But no, that is not Mr. Barry Steak Fries himself. I had to think about it for a second. If any mascot from that company was going to be represented, that would probably be the Fruit Ninja. I think people do typically like Barry Steak Fries better, but I think that Fruit Ninja was more well known at the this period, I'd say. That's fair. I think that Fruit Ninja is just the well-known one. That was all. Nothing against either of them. It's just out of games that I've heard from them, I know that they got Dan the Man, which used to be a Flash series, and I prefer it that way. And now they just make a okay game. I think technically there is another series now, but I don't know. It feels like the 5-year of making the game in between, they changed the story a bit. I don't like it as much now. Or maybe it's just me growing up. It's possible that too. Mobile games were ever solid, Star? I don't know if that's the case. They were more solid than they were today, admittedly. Some mobile games are solid, I'll be honest. And it depends if you have a controller too. Like, I do play Knights of the Old Republic on my phone, as well as Plants vs. Zombies 1. Well, I did play Plants vs. Zombies 1. The app for Plants vs. Zombies 1 has had a glitch lately, actually, where even if you bought to have ads removed, they still shove ads in. So it's like, no, I'm good. I paid to have this taken care of, not ads put back in. Thanks, EA. Really appreciate that. I don't know if I really would say Jetpack Joyride was that good, though. No offense. I know some people really like it. I did play a lot of it. It was a good distraction, but it wasn't really that different from a game you could get on, like, Miniclip or anything like that. And Plants vs. Zombies, I think, was Steam first, wasn't it? If I remember correctly. And Fruit Ninja might have been. That's fair. It did have a lot of personality. I mean, listen, it still has a lot of personality. Just because it's not one that I happen to particularly play, I have to admit, it's stuck around for a very long time, because it's still here. Performing for you. If you know the words, you can join in too. Huh. DK. Donkey Kong. DK. Donkey Kong is here.
Mithrarin, we can't go on any further. Those enemy cannons are far too powerful. You'll need to find a way around their flanks so you can destroy them.
Okay.
Hello again, my friend. I suspected you would return.
I will admit that Jetpack Joyride definitely did have a lot of personality. That one I will not deny at all, because that, if you denied that, you would be crazy. Have a good night, True. God bless. Thun, thun, thun. How many do I have? 3 more. Okay. These are a bit expensive, not too bad. We'll go with that for the time being. Okay, so we do want to go that way. Somewhat. Probably be back that way later. Oh, no, never mind. I'm making a mountain out of molehill type of deal. Have a good night, Star. God bless. Yeah, I'm working on finishing. I will not be playing for too much longer, admittedly. Mainly due to the fact just because I got to get to bed at some point. Oh, it's already 11 o'clock. I didn't even realize it was already 11 o'clock. We don't have too much more to go, though. Five hours later. Hopefully not. Don't get me wrong, I love Dust, but all games have to end at some point. I see you there. Did take me a second to see you, though. Dog tags, please. In Lazagas. Monies. Ow. You made me use a Lazaga. It's not even a Monday. Really dumb Garfield joke. I don't even really know if you could call that a joke, to be quite honest. Beating up your dog. You guys can't do no. Alright, you can do something about it, I guess. You can do multiple things about it, actually. Ooh, pardon me. But yeah, I think we'll finish Kingdom Hearts tomorrow as well, so... We're just working on actually finishing stuff here, and then I'll do Xenogears on Monday for a long time, because it's... birthday stream! Technically it's not my birthday that day, but... My birthday is on Wednesday? Thursday! So I'm going to stream on a day that I don't work instead, because that makes the most sense. Alright, so now we have the most powerful augment, so we should be doing a lot more damage. We can work on this one next. That might be the best armor in the game, not sure, but not like it's bad. That's pretty good defense, but I'd like more attack, honestly. We'll probably grab a... That's not a very big decrease in attack, though, and it does actually... That really raises Fidget a lot. Like, don't get me wrong, that does lower our attack a bit, but... Raises regen. Yeah, I'd say that's worth it. And that also raises Fidget by quite a substantial amount, so we need 4. And 18, okay. We already had a Mastering of Focus. I'm blind. On me. Okay. Yeah, Fidget now does crazy damage. And we are short on, we need 10 of those, huh? Okay. And we need, yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think we have any of those, so that's okay. Let's go see how much damage Fidget does now. Just a bit curious. A bit. Just a bit. Military grade augment, which is not going to be as good. Yeah, like the amount of damage we do now is pretty substantial. Oh, that's one of us. Okay. Okay, so that's where that is. That's good to know. Look if there's anything else back to the left, but there might be a way to get up from over to the left. I'm gonna guess no. But it was still a good idea to check. The map we have explored 70%, 86% treasure. Okay. Oh, hello. I would not have fought me. Yeah, these upgrades have helped just a bit. This will raise our attack even more. Yeah. To the point where I feel a bit bad. Let's see. That doesn't raise fidget or attack anymore. Okay. Let's figure I'd check. Morbid curiosity, one could say. Well, everybody died except for this guy that decided to block. Fair enough. And now you don't get to die. Now you don't get to live. Now you don't get to die. Good job, Ren. Hey. Pardon me. Alright. Up is where it wants us to go. Okay. A little dangerous there. Don't you think? We could go that way. We will go that way eventually. Wedding ring. Alright, let's take a look. More regen, more attack, more defense. Actually, same amount of defense. You know, it does lower fidget, but I think the wedding ring is worth it. Yeah, it lowers... yeah. 20 regen, 20 attack, 20 defense, which is higher, times 2 fidget, which isn't obviously as high as the other stuff, but you know, that's worth it. I'm sure if you're pure damage, no. Aw. Fine, I'll go through this area again. I could have made that now that I think about it, but that's on me. That's okay. The shops might have restocked. Hold on. How much regen do I have now? Did that say 40? 34, okay. Now we're short one, right? Never mind. Need another 20. For some reason I thought it was 6. I'll be honest, if I had to fight Dust, I would not want that. I don't think I was this powerful last time I fought General Gaius. I'm not expecting him to be a big problem this time, to be quite honest. I could be wrong. We shall see. Would not be the first time that I've been wrong. I was gonna say, I think I know what we need to do here. Don't go yet, don't go yet. Ooh. Oh, there it is now, of course. I thought it was going to just appear for us, to be quite honest. That's on me. Really can't be upset at the game for that one. I guess I could, but that'd be rather silly, I think. In my opinion. That's the only treasure here, right? Or 100% treasure, actually, so. That means we should have plenty of keys for... well, I guess just plenty of extra keys. I would not have challenged me.
We are nearly there, Mithrarin. Once we are through their line, General Gaius will be within sight. No matter what happens, my friend, it has been an honor to fight by your side.
Well, thank you for the item drops you guys have been giving me. And instantly dead. Yeah, if you can get all the endgame stuff, you're pretty much murder on legs. I mean, of course, it does depend a little bit on the player, and I'm not the best at the parry system, so not instantly murder on legs. But the point being that it does happen to give, obviously, quite a substantial power boost, I guess is what I'm going for. Alright, I gotta really remember to dodge more. Yeah, a bit more defense would be nice. Didn't mean for that to happen. It did. As is, I'm a little surprised that it let us get back out, honestly. Ow. I don't think mounting gear is as good what we got. Not even, I mean, mounting gear is exactly what we got, technically, but the point being. Oh. Zoomed out a little farther, so it did have a little bit of problem seeing that it was enemy stills. That's on me.
To serve.
Okay. Don't think we'll be able to get that in time. That's a little unfortunate. 8 of those. We have 8 of those as well. That should be good, actually.
Watch.
I wonder if this is to remind you of the beginning of the game. Because obviously, there hasn't been any vegetation for a while we've been here, except for the vines, so... Just kind of reminder of back from where you came. Don't know.
General Gaius! Wait! Wait. Just a moment. Lower your weapons. I said lower your weapons!
You have much to answer for, General.
And what of you, my friend? A year ago I heard stories of your death, at the hands of a child, no less. Now here you stand, not only alive, but leading the very creatures we've been charged to destroy.
You've been charged to destroy, not me.
What happened to you, Cassius?
Cassius?
Do you not remember your own name? What have those damned Moonbloods done to you?
What did you call me?
Cassius! That's who you are!
Don't listen to him! You're Jin now! Remember that!
You're remembering now, aren't you? Together nothing stood in our way. We shaped this world together, and together we can finish what we started.
You ordered the deaths of countless people. Countless Moonbloods. Moonblood sympathizers. Anyone that stood in your way.
Yeah, General Gaius isn't exactly a good guy.
And you carried them out. Lower your blade, old friend. First, we destroy these Moonbloods once and for all. Then I can help.
Genocide isn't exactly a good thing there, General Gaius.
Spoiled your mind.
Dust, listen to me.
Cassius was my name.
That doesn't matter.
It's all that matters. All those people I killed, Fidgets. How could I possibly redeem myself?
You can't. You can continue to redeem yourself over time.
Not Dust. This was never about redeeming Cassius. But then, you are not Cassius.
But I share his form, his very soul.
That doesn't matter.
To say
Why do you keep saying
that doesn't.
Because you're not just Cassius. Jin didn't kill those people. Jin saved the road.
And you're not Cassius, you're not Jin, you are Dust. While you may have incorporations of both, God would have given you a soul that is your own. You might have incorporations of both, but only God can make people. Obviously, I know that's not going to play into this game, but I'm just saying, no, you'd be a different person here.
Jin didn't do any of those things.
Then you finally come to your senses.
Jin is dead, as is Cassius. Their souls now live within me, constantly reliving that fateful day. Forever in battle, forever at odds. But as long as I live, I still have a choice.
Then what are you?
I am justice incarnate, brought to this world by forces beyond your comprehension. A cleansing storm to sweep across the land and purge it of your foul presence.
Ooh.
I am dust, and your campaign ends here now. Throw down your weapons and surrender, or you will face an enemy unlike any this world has ever seen.
Cassius, please, don't do this. You know you cannot win.
Let's end this.
Cassius? No. Dust? Yes. But he ain't done yet.
You cannot win, Cassius. You never could beat me.
Stop calling me Cassius!
There was a time when you stood by my side. We were allies once.
Not anymore, General. I'm not your ally, and I'm not your friend. Now raise your blade or drop it.
You never could scare me either, Cassius. Very well. To the death! Don't you remember anything, Cassius? Why would you draw your blade against your fellow soldiers? Why would you draw your blade against me?
You're destroying this world, Gaius. You and your soldiers cannot be allowed to continue your campaign.
This world belongs to the strong, Cassius. It belongs to us. Don't you remember your duty? Don't you remember your friends?
I remember everything. And it changes nothing! This is where it ends, Gaius!
Kaboom!
You're not Cassius.
No.
Yes, I am.
But also you're not.
Yes, you are. But Cassius is gone, as is the world we once loved. Cherish it.
There, I see him.
Dust? Dust!
Fidget, get out. Go.
Not without you. Come on, Dust. Get up. We did everything right, Dust. Everything we were supposed to do.
And sometimes that's not enough, Fidget. When the life threat calls. Fidget,
Pardon me.
thank you.
Goodbye, Dust.
Dust.
Through the actions of our Sen Mithrarin Dust, the Moonblood race is finally free. We will never forget his sacrifice, or the deeds that saved our fairy world. We shall always remember what happened here. Dust's sacrifice will allow the Moonblood race to rise again, to rebuild our glorious civilization, and live peacefully among the races of this world. Though it may appear that Dust has fallen here today, a force of good is not so easily extinguished. Sen Mithrarin was born with Dust, a current from the winds of change, a harbinger of storms yet to come.
Dust.
It's been 10 years. Don't get me wrong. I know that obviously you have to make it. You have to have money to build a game, and it takes time, especially if Dean is working on a sequel by himself, which I suspect he is. It's like, dang, I've been waiting 10 years, and I want a sequel. But at least it doesn't leave off in a cliffhanger like Golden Sun Dark Dawn. It honestly just leaves it open to sequels. It doesn't have to have a sequel, but it sequel baits in just the right way where it's like, yeah, you know, there's enough here that it's like, I'd like more answers, because obviously General Gaius is a general, he's not the king, so obviously he was under orders from somebody else, so I want to see more. We haven't yet. Hopefully we will. But yeah. That was Dust and Elysian Tail. I really like this game. It's been far too long since I've beaten it again. I'd like to start getting into it at least once a year, or at least once every other year, because it's like, it is a good game. The story it's basic, but it's enjoyable. I don't really dislike a basic story. Is it really that basic though? Yes and no, I guess, but that doesn't make it a bad thing. It's a redemption story of, and then, you know, how, I don't know, maybe it really isn't that basic. It probably is up until the kicker, I'd say, where you find out that Dust is both Jin and Cassius. Because before that, it's like, oh, you have amnesia, you don't know who you are. It's like, oh, you'll get that information in time, etc., etc. So it's like, you know, okay, fair. That's probably a little bit by the books, and then it plays that on you. I still love this. Dean Dodger would like to thank the XNA development community, all of my generous playtesters, my wife, children, family, and to an ever-loving God, and he's absolutely right about that. We should always thank God for everything, and honestly, he made a beautiful game. I know that he didn't make the music, but the music in of itself is great. Honestly, I just love this game. I really do. I'm glad that I got to beat it. I'm glad that I got to play it again. I'm glad that it does seem like there is a sequel being worked on. We don't have technically any pure evidence, but Dean's kind of been dropping hints. Definitely been dropping hints. So hopefully by this time next year, we have more information, but who knows. But yeah, overall the gameplay is really good. Once you get into the combo mechanic, there's the parrying, which I'm not very good at. There's the dust storm. What am I sort of missing? Oh, that makes sense. Oh yeah, I guess I didn't do that one. Okay. I wonder which are the 4 achievements I'm missing. I know one of them I'm missing. Well, 2 of them I'm missing. That one's pretty obvious. I guess I could go check Steam. I have all the achievements there, so... One second, I'm curious. Oh, that. Okay, I guess we could go do that one real quickly. We could probably do 2 real quickly, honestly. Okay, this one wouldn't be too bad. We didn't get all the cannons, apparently, which is fair enough. Yeah, well, I give my thoughts on that. We can go at least do one more thing, just because... Why not? Honestly, I like this game. Let's see. Yeah, gameplay-wise, it happens to be really good. The more you play it, the more it builds upon itself. I like the... So, I didn't obviously showcase this, just due to the fact that, going the wrong way for this, too. It auto-levels for easier difficulties, or it gives you the option to. It doesn't for hard or higher, which I think is good for, you know, a person's first playthrough. Typically I wouldn't say that, but I don't think it's forced upon you, and I've always played it on hard and kind of forget that's even an option. But for people that are new to video games, it's a pretty good easy access option. It was like, I've been trying to get my wife to play this. I still am trying to get my wife to play this because it is a really good game. Hopefully she does eventually. But the thing that I was really bringing up, that is a good easy option so as to help the player through the game. It doesn't just play the game for you, kind of like, I think that a decent comparison that I'm thinking of would be like the invincible mode in Mario, where newer games where if you die too many times on a level, it just goes ahead and beats it for you. So it's a nice balance between the two, because it's like harder but not crazy hard. What else? Story, there's really not too much content-wise I can think of immediately off the top of my head. I don't really remember anything inappropriate. I guess morality-wise, I don't think it's meant to encourage, like, anti-Christianity, because obviously Dean's Christian. So if somebody were to bring that up, I would tell them, nah, that's incorrect.
How's the market treating you, Maddie? Good to hear, good to hear.
We'll keep talking about it here in a second, but overall, it's like, honestly, when I write my review for this, which I'll work on after Bayonetta 3, it's a great game. Honestly, if I had to go ahead and, let's see, scoring gameplay-wise, I'd probably give it about a 4 out of 5. I'm hesitant to give anything, like, higher than that, because it's like the parry system isn't my favorite, but that's personal opinion, not anything on Dean or anything. I wish there was a little bit more combo magic, because you got the electricity, dust, fidgets, projectiles, and fire. Kind of would like a water projectile. Don't really know what you would have done with that, admittedly. Thinking now. What would you have done? I guess with the ice one, water, you could have turned it into freezing, then frozen enemies for a while, but that might have been a little bit that might have been too strong, honestly. I have to think about that one some more. Getting into the air can be a little bit hard, I guess, is another thing I'd have to say. The graphics, I probably would have to say 5 out of 5. They're all hand-drawn by Dean. They all look amazing. The only thing that really looks really a little bit weird was that last scene we saw where Dust was crawling towards General Gaius. Not really too big a deal, but it's like, I just noticed it's a little... I don't know how to describe it, but I'd still give it a 5 out of 5. It's like, it's a slight thing that unless you're looking, you're not going to notice it. Replayability, I would definitely say, this is my second time replaying it fully, but I would say that you could at least play it once a year. The feels of the game are really good. The beats of the game, the music, just everything about it is a really good game, honestly.
Hey, Maddie, so about your sister. Alright, well, I'm glad we had this talk. Hi there, Maddie. Alright then.
Not that we need to, but I'd like to. We can get one other one real quickly. Why not? Well, didn't quite go as planned there. Now we just got to get to an enemy that we can slide into. Shouldn't be too big a deal, honestly. Ow. Really thought I would have dodged that, but apparently not. We might be able to get up there, actually. Just barely. Really thought I would dodge that. That's alright. There we go. Okay. 203 damage. That is a lot of damage, admittedly. That was my fault. I meant to slide. We never really did get a bomb to... I know a pretty good place we could explode a bomb to get the second last achievement, because the other achievement would just take a little bit too long. Not like a crazy long amount of time, but enough where it's like, yeah. Honestly, as is, I'm willing to call it good, honestly. We got all treasure. Got 100% map completion, right? Is that what it said? Yeah. I made it that way. That was neat. Yeah, that'll basically end it, because it's like, as I said, we got a couple more achievements we could do, but we don't really need to at the same time. General Gaius was not too big of a problem with the max upgrade. Well, most of the max upgrades. We didn't level up all the way. I guess we could go destroy the last cannon too, but yeah. I think we're good here, honestly. I think what we'll do is end with reading of Paul of Tarsus, Catechism, and then we'll finish it off there, because we're done at this point, and we'll probably finish Kingdom Hearts tomorrow as well, and we'll work on some Xenogears, and we still got a couple games to finish, honestly, and we only have next week. This week, yeah, basically we have tomorrow the 19th. I can't really stream the 22nd or the 23rd. 26th I might be able to stream. I got the 30th and 31st, and then Year Squared is basically done. I don't think we can get done with Xenogears in time, so we'll have to have that go a little bit under overtime. Not much else to be done about that, mind you. Okay. So, pardon me. That is still too cute. I want to see if there's anything else around before we... I think it's just Fidget there, which is still adorable, don't get me wrong. Anyways, okay. The division and numbering of the commandments have varied in the course of history. The present catechism follows the division of the commandments established by St. Augustine, which has become traditional in the Catholic Church. It is also that of the Lutheran confessions. The Greek fathers worked out a slightly different division, which is found in the Orthodox churches and Reformed communities. The Ten Commandments state what is required in the love of God and love of neighbor. The first three concern love of God, and the other seven love of neighbor. As charity comprises the two commandments to which the Lord related the whole law and the prophets, so the Ten Commandments were themselves given on 2 tablets. 3 were written on one tablet and 7 on the other. The Council of Trent teaches that the Ten Commandments are obligatory for Christians, and that the justified man is still bound to keep them. The Second Vatican Council confirms the bishops, successors of the apostles, receive from the Lord the mission of teaching all peoples and of preaching the gospel to every creature, so that all men may attain salvation through faith, baptism, and the observance of the commandments. The unity of the Decalogue. The Decalogue forms a coherent whole. Each word confers to each of the others, and to all of them they reciprocally condition one another. The 2 tablets shed light on one another. They form an organic unity. To transgress one commandment is to infringe all the others. One cannot honor another person without blessing God, his creator. One cannot adore God without loving all men, his creatures. The Decalogue brings man's religious and social life into unity. The Decalogue and the Natural Law. The Ten Commandments belong to God's revelation. At the same time, they teach us the true humanity of man. They bring to light the essential duties and therefore, indirectly, the fundamental rights inherent in the nature of the human person. The Decalogue contains a privileged expression of the natural law. From the beginning, God had implanted in the heart of man the precepts of the natural law. Then he was content to remind him of them. This was the Decalogue. The commandments of the Decalogue, although accessible through reason alone, have been revealed to attain a complete and certain understanding of the requirements of the natural law. Sinful humanity needed this revelation. A full explanation of the commandments of the Decalogue became necessary in the state of sin, because the light of reason was obscured and the will had gone astray. We know God's commandments through the divine revelation proposed to us in the Church, and through the voice of moral conscience. The obligation of the Decalogue, since they express men's fundamental duties towards God and toward his neighbor, the Ten Commandments reveal in their primordial content grave obligations. They are fundamentally immutable, and they oblige always and everywhere. No one can dispense from them. The Ten Commandments are engraved by God in the human heart. Obedience to the commandments also implies obligations in matter which is, in itself, light. Thus, abuse of language is forbidden by the Fifth Commandment, but would be a grave offense only as a result of circumstances of the offender's intention. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Jesus says, I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me, and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. The fruit referred to in this saying is the holiness of a life made fruitful by union with Christ. When we believe in Jesus Christ, partake of his mysteries, and keep his commandments, the Savior himself comes to love in us, his Father and his brethren, our Father and our brethren. His person becomes, through the Spirit, the living interior rule of our activity. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. In brief, what good deed must I do to have eternal life? If you would enter into life, keep the commandments. By his life and by his preaching, Jesus attested to the permanent validity of the Decalogue. The gift of the Decalogue is bestowed from within the covenant concluded by God with his people. God's commandments take on their true meaning in and through this covenant. In fidelity to Scripture and in conformity with Jesus' example, the tradition of the Church has always acknowledged the primordial importance and significance of the Decalogue. The Decalogue forms an organic unity in which each word or commandment refers to all the others taken together. To transgress one commandment is to infringe the whole law. The Decalogue contains a privileged expression of the natural law. It is made known to us by divine revelation and by human reason. The Ten Commandments in their fundamental content state grave obligations. However, obedience to these precepts also implies obligations in matter, which is in itself light. What God commands, he makes possible by his grace. Chapter 1. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. Jesus summed up man's duties toward God in this saying, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This immediately echoes the solemn call, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is our Lord, is one Lord. God has loved us first. The love of the one God is recalled in the first of the 10 words. The commandments then make explicit the responsive love that man is called to give to his God. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself a graven image, or any likeness, or anything that is in heaven, above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down or serve them. It is written, You shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve. You shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve. God makes himself known by recalling his all-powerful, loving, and liberating action in the history of the one he addresses. I brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. The first word contains the first commandment of the law. You shall fear the Lord your God. You shall serve him. You shall not go after other gods. God's first call and just demand is that man accept him and worship him. We'll read more from the Catechism tomorrow. But we shall go ahead and read about Paul of Tarsus here real quickly. Not really, like, quickly or anything, but I guess it shall just be 2 pages, I guess. I guess I kind of forgot that it was such a short chapter. So, It'll be 2 pages, and then we will tomorrow have a 4 pages day, which is fine. The day after that, we'll have a 3 pages. Okay. So, Paul of Tarsus, an ominous counsel. And now they proceeded to give Paul that strange counsel. Do you know what you ought to do, they asked? Take our advice. Purge yourself of this suspicion. Do not discredit the religion. Show publicly that you are a good Jew after all. Here is our plan. We happen to have here 4 men who have made the Nazarite vow and are not able to pay the expenses involved. Join them in their vow, which is nearly complete. Pay their expenses and take them to the temple for the next 7 days. Then everybody will see there is nothing to these accusations. You walk in the observance of the law. Then they took their little prick of revenge. They reminded Paul of the 4 statutes of the Council of the Apostles. 8 years ago, they had yielded to Paul. Now it was Paul's turn to make a small concession. It was all well planned. The advice may have been considered prudent at another time when everybody was not agitated to fever pitch. The reasoning behind the advice was most humiliating. He should rehabilitate himself by making what amounted to an open profession of Judaism. It was an extraordinary demand they made on Paul. Even the physical performance was no small matter. To spend 7 days in the course of the temple with men who were total strangers and then pay for the expenses, which were also heavy. The temple offering for 5 Nazarites was 15 sheep, 15 baskets of bread, cake, oil cakes, and the same number of jugs of wine. Besides this, Paul would have had to pay the living expenses of the 4 men for 7 days. During his last visit to Jerusalem, Paul had fulfilled such a vow for himself, but that had been of his own volition. Now was to be an external observance against which his whole being rebelled. He was being asked to do a sort of public penance. If it actually pacified the Jews, how would it be interpreted by the Gentile Christians? Might it not be interpreted as a tacit retraction of all that he said with so much emphasis? Would not his life work suffer by carrying out this plan? His conscience may have reproached him. Paul, what are you about to do? For years you fought for freedom from the law, and you called those Jewish ceremonies weak and miserable elements. Now you are walking on the edge of the sword. In itself, it is true, the matter is indifferent. But will it not appear as a subterfuge? How easily a man can be placed in an embarrassing position, and sometimes even by his friends. Paul was undoubtedly fighting a bitter spiritual battle, but Luke makes no reference to it. It was Luke's business to write down the events of the day, not to reveal the secrets of his hero. But knowing Paul as we do, how sensitive he was about truthfulness and honesty, and knowing also Luke's delicacy at times like this, we feel sure that something occurred between verses 25 and 26. Paul must have made some reply, and some discussion must have followed. But about all this, Luke says nothing. He goes factually on with his report. Then Paul took the men. Between those 2 verses occurred a spiritual tragedy. Paul made his decision for reasons that remain hidden to us. Was it perhaps because of that noble desire to become all things to all men and to reconcile the Mother Church with the Gentile missions? For whereas I was free as to all, I made myself the servant of all, that I might gain the more. Even Renan was forced to admit that in Paul's entire apostolic career, he had made no greater sacrifice than this. Here at Jerusalem, he manifested greater magnanimity than in his labors at Corinth or Thessalonica, where he had been able to unfold all the force of his genius in complete freedom. Alright, and tomorrow we will start chapter 49, I Am a Roman Citizen. We're getting there. Let's see, we are at page 412 at the moment, and there is 540 pages, 539 pages, so we should be able to finish this by the end of January, as long as I'm actually good about incorporating the reading like I'm supposed to be. I've just been a little bad about that, and I do feel bad about that, as I should, but I'm working on it. Oh, I forgot to zoom out. My face was... I don't even need... Okay, one second. Let me fix this. I was gonna say, I don't need to adjust that at all. I need to, so I zoomed in, obviously, yesterday for, the Pokemon cards, and then I forgot to unzoom until right now, so it's like, this looks a lot better. You guys don't need to see my face that much. Anyways, I will be back tomorrow with, I think it's Kingdom Hearts, once Minimax goes to bed, because he's gonna be up with me for a little bit. Once Minimax goes to bed, we'll probably switch over to Deus Ex Mankind Divided, because I would like to get that done by the end of the year as well. Hopefully we can. Maybe we'll do Xenogears tomorrow. Because Deus Ex technically isn't owned by... Yeah, I probably should do Xenogears tomorrow after Minimax goes to bed, because Deus Ex technically isn't owned by Square anymore, so... We can technically push that one to the side so we can finish Deus Ex after a year squared, because as I said, Deus Ex technically isn't owned by Square anymore. I know it's weird to say, but anyway, I will be back tomorrow with sounds like Kingdom Hearts and Xenogears. You all have a good day. God bless, and remember that God loves each and every one of you. Go on some more. Have a good day. God bless, and Pax Up Bonum, guys. It's a me.